when it loads, you it should be like these characters standing on the screen. You let me know whenever you can see something. Oh, you can see everything? Alright, cool. You can see where it says like Cannon Hawk in the top right? Okay. Okay, so when I first started playing this game, this is like the character selection screen. So the girl far to the right, I think she's a wizard. Then you've got like that swordsman guy. You got the ranger who's in the back, that's who I am. The guy with the big ass hammer. The other guy, I think he's like some kind of like thief or something. And then you've got that guy in the front with the big staff. I think he's like another wizard. So you can pick whichever character you want. So here I'm going to just select my character. Please work. Okay. So then just like in Diablo, it has like, you know, the load screens like this. Do you see a load screen? Yep. Lions Watch. Okay, so Lions watches the town. So this thing has apparently acts, because I'm in Act 1, very similar to Diablo, and this would be like your main hub town, like in one of the acts. Okay, now the one thing that is a little different is the angle of the character once it loads up here. It's a little higher than Diablo's, which is a little lower of an angle, so that does take a little to getting used to, but alright, so can you see like I'm in like a little town now? Yeah? Okay, so just in like Diablo, like, okay, so here's the weird thing about the town. See like the people walking around? Those are actual other players and gamers. So you can interact with them, you could trade with them and stuff like that. So there are other people that they walk around here, and then there are the regular like NPCs, which is like your vendors, like this girl named Nessa. There's this one under here called Bestel, who's like some pirate guy, but whatever. So you do have your vendors. You do have your stash, just like Diablo, so this is like a little treasure chest here. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. So you have this stash area, and you have, you know, different tabs to put your stuff in. Okay? So just like Diablo, you have a stash thing. Okay, I have a bunch of shit in there. This is your, like, inventory screen you'll see. Yeah, so here's what's weird about it, is look how many flasks you have. You have a bunch of healing flasks that you can find in the game, like small ones, medium ones, large ones, etc. And mana flasks. Just like Diablo, you have your weapons. So there's my bow, there's my quiver, headpiece, armor, that's an amulet, ring, another ring, a belt, boots, and gloves. There's no pants, but it's very similar to Diablo. And then this is kind of like your inventory. So as you can see, it fits in certain slots, like how big items are, fit in these squares, as you can see. Okay? So, again, it's a different inventory system, but similar to how you know, have your stuff. Alright. So let me get out of that, and so that's your stash. This is a little town, and just like, hey, this looks familiar. What's this? A waypoint. Huh, what does this look like? Diablo. So you use those, of course, when you find them. They're really good to find because then you can actually, here's the map, you can teleport to different spots. Just like Diablo, you got your waypoints. Okay? Some places, some areas, believe it or not, don't have waypoints, so you can't go to them, but most of the time you can go to a waypoint, and then you can get right to the spot that doesn't have the waypoint, so. Okay. Okay. Yeah, do that. Okay. Okay. And you okay, so yeah, you won't be able to talk to me, but I'll talk and explain everything. Okay. Oh, what the heck? It's saying that, I don't know if you want me... Can you hear me, Meth? Just, like, send me a message or something so you can hear me. Okay, good. You can see. Can you also hear me? Okay, cool. Alright, so, you'll see there's a waypoint on here. This is just like Diablo, so, and here's the map, so this would be like the act. So, there are waypoints you find in the maps, and it's very good to find the waypoints, because then, of course, you can get further along. Some map areas don't have waypoints, and that's okay, because if there's a waypoint, it's close enough to the area. So, very, very, very similar. You got waypoints in the game, just like in Diablo. Okay, so again, this is like your little town hub. You have different vendors that can sell stuff. There's a couple of them over here. And some of them you actually find on your quests. There's a dude here. There's some kind of event notice boards. I have no idea what that's all about, but that's on there. This guy's important in the game. This Kvass. He's apparently part of the new patch, and it's like these. He has this forgotten memory, and you kind of go in there. Think of like a rift, but it's closing in on you, like the borders and stuff, and you're supposed to like repair the rift, basically. That's kind of like what... I don't exactly understand fully what you do with that, other than I go in there, I try to kill as much crap as I can, and then get as much loot as I can then. But I have to read a little more on what you do exactly with the synthesizing and all this stuff. But anyways, I'll show you some gameplay now. I'll show you this screen here. So this screen here is, of course, your inventory screen. So this is kind of like when we were over at the stash when I was showing you the chest. Again, these are your items, and then of course you have these tabs at the top. Apparently you can get special cosmetics for your weapons. Again, that's just the world map. Your inventory, your skills. So it just kind of shows you damage and stuff like that. The default attack. Your character shows you more stats, your dexterity, intelligence, strength. I know you're going to ask the question, does dex, intelligence, and strength affect a character if they're an archer, or strength or intelligence for a wizard? I don't know. I'd have to look it up and see if those stats do affect how hard you hit depending on what class you are. I'm not sure on that. Next is your passive. So this is that tree that you've probably seen or heard about. Oops. The wrong button. Sorry about that. But as you can see, of course, the thing is massive. I've only done, like, as you can see, this is where you start as like your archer class, and then you can go through here and you fill up the things. So the path I'm taking is I'm going over here because down here's a bunch of health stuff. So there's a bunch of health over here, and there's like all this stuff, all these skills and passives for an archerer. So I'm kind of going the archerer path over here. But as you can see, there's all these different paths. You can read what the things do and stuff. But from what I read, health is the most important thing in this game. So you want to go after the nodes that have health on them. So that's the tree. Okay. And we'll go to an area. I'll show you an area. Oops. I'll go to somewhere it's a little... Prisoner's Gate. Ship Graveyard. Oh, let's see here. We'll do Prisoner's Gate so you can see what this looks like. So, I'll show you some of the combat. Again, I don't have a lot of skills, so I can't do a lot of things. I forgot to say, there are different classes of weapons. So as you can see, that longbow is just a regular, ordinary longbow. But when you start looking at that stuff, see how the border changes on the actual, like, helmet or the circlet? That's purple. It means it's a magic one, so it's better than a common or a normal. And then you have this gold color. So I'd say that's more of like a legendary type item. That one's gold. That one's gold. That's a purple. That one's a normal item, normal, more of like a legendary stat. Because you can see how much more stats you have on those like legendary items versus the commons. There are reds. I've never seen a red yet or had a red drop for me. I'm going to assume they're like primals, because I think they are the strongest items in the game. But there's a thing on the main screen that kind of... Actually, I wonder if I can view it here. Help panel? Is this it? Oh, here you go. So there is this little tutorial thing that shows you like rarities. So as you can see here, there's normal, magic, rare, and unique. Unique, I think, is like the primals. And they kind of show you exactly how all this kind of stuff works. You know, how strong things are, all those types of things. I feel like this game is almost like an encyclopedia. There's so much stuff in it. But okay, anyways, so here's the map, and here's how you walk around. So again, it's very Diablo-like. You are, like I says, I feel like the angle's a little higher than Diablo, where I feel it's a little bit lower, just a smidge. To explain everything you see on the screen, up in the corner is your map, just like Diablo has a little mini map. If you press down, it'll do like this overlay map, so you can kind of see where you're at. So you can either have this map or the top map. The top left corner is your health, so the big red ball is your health. The blue, that's like the half moon around your health, that is shielding. So what you have are shields in this game that even items will add shields to you, like your equipment will add shields, passives will add shields, stuff like that. But it's protection before it gets to your health. And the shields just regen after you're not taking any combat or any hits. Sorry if I'm losing my voice. The little yellow bar with the little squares, that's just like in Diablo when you're going to level up. That's like the level up bar. So once that thing fills up, you hit the next level. The blue bar is your mana. And think of, and I'm going to assume this with all the classes, that mana is your universal hatred, your magic, your barbarian fury. It's all the same. So whenever I use my bow, you'll see that it's going to use mana. See how it starts going down. Okay? Using my regular bow, you know, you don't lose your mana. And it just regenerates, which is fine. Your flasks are in the corner, so you got your health ones to restore mana. And the way they restore themselves is the more monsters you kill and hit, the faster those flasks will restore the health that's inside them. Your bottom right-hand corner, your skills, as you can see, you can have 8 skills. So I have this regular bow attack. I have what I would call the multi-shot attack. I have a bear trap I can throw right now. And then I also have this like teleport ability where I go weep, and I can appear over here. So... and it makes a double of yourself. And this is all done by the gems that you have socketed into your bows or your weapons. So as you can see, if they have a linking thing in them, that's how it works. So if you have your primary one is that like multi-shot, and then what's linked to it is a support gem, which gives this little magic archer guy will come out, which I'll show you. So that's how it works. Is you know, as you can see, most of my stuff doesn't even have any sockets in it because I don't have many gems. I've gotten some. I probably have like maybe 5 or 6. But nothing that I can put in the other ones yet. Like, I just don't have them. And they are color-coded, so that one takes 2 blues. You know, like that one's 2 blues, that one's a green, that quiver doesn't have anything, that one's a green, and that one's a green. So they are color coded. There are abilities that can change the color codes on the little circles. So I have pieces of that equipment, but I don't want to put it in and use it yet on just like common items. Okay, I don't know how rare some of this stuff is. So here, I'll show you some of the combat. Let's see here. All right. So just like Diablo, you attack. If I use multi-shot, see how I have that guy up there? That's one of those skill abilities. So he comes out and fights for me whenever I hit with that weapon. Hit, he comes out. Out for a little bit, and then he leaves. Okay, as you can see, my shielding went down because I did get hit a couple times. I don't exactly know what you're supposed to do with that. Some kind of blocked road. I can go over this way. Back up, get away from them. I can throw a bear trap out there that'll slow them down and slows them. Again, I'm not very powerful. I mean, I can kill stuff, but I mean, some of the crazy end build games I've seen in this game, it's just like there's like so much firepower. I mean, again, it looks like Diablo. I mean, this is like I'm the beginner character. There's chests and loot rounds, so as you can see, sometimes when you open stuff, you'll get all this stuff, all these drops. The other thing I do have to warn you is this does not use a smart loot system like Diablo. So when you get drops, they're not all just going to be for your character. Oh, okay. They won't be all for your character. As you can see, there's a shield. There's a vest. There's a portal scroll. Portal scrolls are pretty cool. They allow you to teleport back to town, so those are kind of good to have. There's quivers, longbows, but again, you'll grab wands and stuff like that. So there is, I guess the reason they do that is you could probably change your character how you'd want to build him. But again, it's very, very important if you can find the weapons that have like those linking for the sockets, because the reason that that little guy shoots the multi-shot is because I have multi-shot equipped. Now, if I had a fire as my main ability in here instead of the multi-shot one, he would shoot fire because that's what it would be basing it off of. Whoop. The one thing that's actually kind of cool that I do like is like some of the sound effects sound good. Like when the enemies get hit with the bows, it sounds like they really get hurt. Like your arrows stick in like walls and stuff, which I think it's pretty cool. It's just cool little touches they put in the game. We'll go up here. Again, I've cleared this area, so I'm just showing you this as a demo. Again, graphically, it looks pretty good. It's a little more, I'd say, realistic in terms of like the style of art, I'd say, versus Diablo's. I'd say this, from what people describe this is more like Diablo 2, I think, in terms of like its style, maybe. I think you can have 6 people at a time when I saw like the invite screen, because you can invite people to it. I think you can invite up to 6 players, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, for a free game, I really like it. I mean, I'll be excited when I start getting like my character more powerful and I can find more nodes. I mean gems to add more skills. I mean, I've been enjoying it, but velvet slippers, and they also have kind of like the colors on stuff. Like you also have to identify items, and there's a little thing that, unlike Diablo, where you just kind of can identify an item that may fall that's like a legendary or a magic rare item. This you need like a little item, and it's called like the something of wisdom. I can't remember off the top of my head. They drop pretty common, so it's not like you're never gonna find those. So they're so you can identify the rare items. I mean, there are different builds in the game too, from what I've understood. But again, I'm just kind of learning it and playing it myself, just so I can learn it and figure it out. Like you can see, here's the one thing is you won't be picking up all the loot all the time. Like you can take the loot to town. There's no gold in the game. What you do is you trade stuff for like crafting materials or special materials. So you can trade stuff. So I'm usually just not picking stuff up all the time. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, and for like the bosses and the fights, because usually just like the regular enemies. It, there was one boss, and he was such a ripoff of the Butcher. Like he was basically the Butcher from Diablo. I mean, he had a claw move. He had like a hook, just like Roadhog / the Butcher, that pulled you in. It was like a bloody chamber. I mean, he was such a ripoff of the Butcher. But he fought differently too. And he was actually quite hard. So some of the monsters are kind of challenging in here when I've fought some of them. Like I says, I do have some gems that I could make this a fire-based bow. Ooh. Cannot join this session right now. Oh, maybe I need to stop broadcasting. Where do I go with that?